to work.
But he's in,
He-
there's somebody on the Samsung.
I'm not on Zoom. He
Yeah.
should be on Zoom.
I mean, yeah, there's somebody, but it just says Samsung.
So they're on their phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we're broadcasting on YouTube. Yes, we are. Okay.
Say when.
When?
Calling this meeting to order. Okay, so let's find out who's here. Jeremy is on Zoom.
He's trying, yeah.
He's gonna. Mark is here. Kim
Here.
here. Lori here. Peg
Here.
Lauralee and Jill are here. And in our guests, we have Clyde. Yes, I'm familiar with that name since I saw the and
Dave Anderlick,
David.
Anderlick, Anderlik.
Rose.
Okay,
It's him.
did you get that, Jill? And Darla. Chris. Okay. So let's stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I have to explain, you know, it's wrapped the under God part, but I was in the 8th grade when Eisenhower added that to the Pledge of Allegiance, and it was not to be paused before, one nation under God was a whole statement. That's the reason I go through it, because that's the way I've said it my whole life. So we'll just have to bear with it.
You are on it. All right. Oh, thank you. Our agenda, good to go? I think so. So we have two kinds of, I'm on 20, two kinds
Minutes.
of minutes, yes. we
Board
have.
and, the budget.
So I myself had no changes to either one, but let's talk about the first one that was held was the budget committee. So those minutes, do I have a motion?
I will move that we accept the budget committee as sent. You know,
Okay, Peg, we have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kim. All those in favor of passing the budget committee minutes?
Hi.
Those opposed? Okay,
Are you getting Jeremy? Like,
Yeah, we get a vote.
I don't have anything on there from him,
so
so I don't know.
okay. I'll ask-
All right, there we go. Can you hear me
I'll
now?
ask If he can hear.
Yeah, it says he's not muted, but I'm not hearing any noise from him. And I'm up to.
Can't hear me? Nobody can hear me?
She wasn't kidding, was she?
You had to be the one to try it.
it's good, it's good, it's good. Okay, well, on to the regular board meeting minutes of last month. Do I have a motion there for discussion?
well, I can say the same thing about that one. I move that we accept the meetings from May. As, you know,
And I'll second.
And Kim seconds, thank you. All those in favor of approving the regular board meeting minutes of last month?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Let's not lose my agenda. Unfinished business, 30.1. Oh, that's got my name on it. Huh. Okay. I am happy to talk about our fundraising. We've had some people, I know we reported in the budget meeting that, I reported that we had 12,000 something. But then some more checks or payments came in of people who said, oh, they're popping a check in the mail, or like my dad had already donated, but then he sent me some more cash for it. And when I add up all those pledges, the current amount is just over $14,000.
Nice.
Slash
Yay.
14.2, I think.
There's 400 here.
Oh, 100 from Mark, 300 came from my dad.
Oh, that's, so you're including that, okay.
Yeah, and he wasn't on the pledges at all, so I had to,
But Mark was, he was on the pledge. He was, yeah.
That would be 14,281 and 1 cent.
and 1 cent, that 1 cent from Safeway. The 1 cent came when I was in Safeway getting fruit for our event to the day of the event. And the nice fellow who I've seen a lot named Matt there, and he says, what are you doing today? And I said, well, I'm fundraising for the pool. We have an event, Splash for Cash, blah, 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 I do my thing. And he dug in his pocket and he held up a penny and he said, all I got on me is a penny, but it's seed money. And I said, well, I thank you very much. And I'm going to put that on the record. So he's gonna get a thank you note as well for the penny.
And you're more.
Well, it was good seed money, but you know, it just got, I'm really tickled how that one came out. Now, we have a lot more work to do. We certainly do. We just had a meeting, I think that was June 6th, and then we'll have another one next week to just keep the momentum going. We're working, not there yet, on setting up a 501c3 nonprofit foundation. Now, towards that, Jeremy set up at last a website for friendsofthepool.com. Now you can go there and look at it. There's just a little information, and this is so that we can provide donation, advertising, a PayPal link so there can be online donations without confusing anything with the pool, with lessons or what have you, people that want to pay online. So we want to make clear that it's a donations page, and once we can pass all we need to do to establish the nonprofit, then we can use PayPal for no charge. And we're trying to keep everything at no cost, but there is cost to fundraising. So I have a bill, an invoice from KGAL Radio, because we did commit to some radio spots. They've done some for Splash for Cash. Now, they'll do more when we tell them. But they're also gonna be very laid back about this invoice that I've been sent, because they know that our our budget raising it within the committee is nothing. We're starting from scratch. And now we've got to figure out how to handle expenses like the rating bill and others. We gotta work it out all in the right channels. But we're going to have expenses and we know it. And so I want to resolve that as soon as possible. So we have that website, and I also made a page in Facebook because we should be on social media. So I do have the Facebook page, Friends of Lebanon Pool. But right now, it's just that. I need to flesh it out. But the goal would be to grow that, on other platforms. I'm not that savvy on TikTok and Instagram and all of that, but I'm not afraid either, so we'll keep cracking at it. We can always use more help. Let me check my notes and see if I've covered everything I wanted to. We do have an email set up that called Friends of Lebanon Pool @gmail.com. That is also live now. Okay, so that's my fundraising report. Thank you very much. Moving on to 30.2. And
Well, this is one that's been carried over for a few months. So was it sometime almost a year ago now, we got everything, or was it last September, October, last fall? That you went through and you got everything updated,
I got everything
cataloged, yes. And then you presented us a form where if somebody wants to come in and get any of that, they fill out the form and make a request.
For,
public records request.
how about a fee?
Well, I mean, depending on what they want, if takes 30 seconds, then there's no fee, but.
Yeah,
It takes
Page and page,
Right.
then, yeah.
but even if
And
it
that's-
is lots, it's still a minimal fee.
mhm,
Yeah, so, I mean, I was okay with all of that. I think we just weren't quite on the same page. So was there something you wanted more than what we've already done?
Yeah, I just think they should all be publicly put on the website so that anyone can go get them whenever they want without having to pay for them.
Okay, well, I don't think we need to go that far. So I'm okay with what Lori has done. The point she got it to, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay.
But to go above and beyond for that, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
that's where I'm at on that. Just either I wasn't here, or you weren't here, we just weren't able to have this
Right.
face-to-face conversation up until now, so.
I'm in agreement. I don't,
I mean, yes, probably eventually, but we did a lot of work to get it to this point, and I think we just let it rest where it's at the moment.
yes.
Okay, I'm for that too.
Okay,
So that's what we need.
so we don't need to vote for any change. It
So we
is
can
what
just
it
take
is.
that off, unfinished business and call it good.
Yeah, okay. Then, okay, now we get to one of the handouts, or that was in your board packet, the public meeting policy. Lauren, do you want to speak to it or just?
Well, just they came out with new public meeting policy January 1, and so this was what SDAO sent out to.
Don't you think we should update it to match what we do?
Well, I mean, if you wanna follow what's written down.
Wait, what did you say?
My point is, if you look at the board meeting agenda section, this isn't what we do. And we've done the same thing consistently for a really long time.
Yeah,
So it seems like we could update this one section to what we do versus what it says. So that we're following our own policies.
yes, okay, so, it looks very much like we're doing. Is there's, and this looks like what we, the order we do. We don't have a secretary treasurer.
Well, and do we always call for testimony from citizens during our board meeting?
Yes. Yes. And okay, so that we've done not mid, but later typically, right?
Or
So we
at the
could,
very beginning, so they don't have to stay for the whole thing.
yeah, and because we've done that with people that are coming here that we know are gonna talk and go ahead
But
and do that
they
first.
need to let us know that they have something to add,
Mhm.
and so that we can call on them.
I'm not
Speaking of
sure,
audience,
well,
oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure if all these bullet points, I mean, this is what, everything that could be on an agenda.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when they say follow the general format, I think they don't necessarily mean you can't diverge from this order.
Yeah, well, it looks okay. It looks like we're doing this. Even in that order, we do business, new business. You speak, at the end of, you give your report. Well, and we can. I think throughout our meetings, when I look at agenda suggestions for future meetings, those come up during our meeting. We'll need to revisit that next month, so I feel like that's also incorporated in what we do. So, do we need to vote this in, or?
There's a resolution.
Oh, that's right, I've got it, apologize.
And the previous resolution was from 2007. So
Oh,
it's been a
my.
little while.
Yeah, it has. So,
Has to be read.
yes, Lebanon Aquatic District, resolution number,
Probably the same.
well, if you read, we don't need to,
That might be the corrected one.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Typos.
Lebanon Aquatic District, resolution number 2024-06-1. A resolution to adopt updated public meetings policy. Whereas the Board of Directors Board of the Lebanon Aquatic District has determined that new legislative requirements went into effect January 1st, 2024 regarding public meetings and given their desire to comply with the new laws. Now, therefore, the board, acting as the governing body of the district, hereby resolves as follows. That the board hereby adopts the updated public meeting policy as presented. Can I hear a motion to adopt this as presented?
I will move that we adopt the resolution for public meetings policy as of June 17th, 2024.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mark seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Are you abstaining?
I am.
Okay.
That was you, right?
Okay. Did we ever get Jeremy on?
He can hear us.
He can, okay.
He can hear us. I just don't know if I don't
Can
think
we
we can
hear
hear him.
Yeah, he can. Can we?
We just can't hear him.
Yeah, it just says he's muted. He
Okay,
hasn't tried typing anything to the chat either, so I don't know.
if he votes something like can you say?
He said he's going to abstain on this vote.
Like 2 abstentions.
Okay, Mark, you don't have this. Do you want a copy? Because you're going to actually sign it.
This one,
Okay.
you sign it.
Now, we're going to go on and review the resolution to adopt the 24-25 budget and make appropriations impose categorized tax rate. Has Mark on it. Do you have a particular want to do that, or I'll do it?
Yeah, no, she's do that, please, thank you.
Well, this one's a little longer, but it's basically what we did in the budget meeting with the whole budget committee. Resolution number 2024-06-02, adopting the budget. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Lebanon Aquatic District hereby adopts the budget for fiscal year 2024-25 in the total of Lori, in the total of, that was bad, $1,243,735 now on file at the Lebanon Community Pool located at 1800 South Fifth Street, Lebanon, Oregon 97355 in Lebanon. Making appropriations. Be it resolved that the amounts for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and for the purposes shown below are hereby appropriated. Under the general fund, we have personnel services, $616,961. Materials and services, $211,960. Capital outlay, $23,000. Debt service, $41,326. Transfers out, $80,000. Contingency, $23,888 for a total of $997,135. In the reserve fund, we have no appropriations. In the debt service fund, no appropriations. In the special fund, personnel services, $34,500, materials and services, $12,575, capital outlay, $0, for a total of $47,075. Contingency is $1,225. for a total of $48,300. Now, all of the appropriations for all funds come to $1,045,435. Now, the total unappropriated and reserve amounts of all funds would be $246,600 for the total adopted budget. $1,292,035. That's the breakdown. Now, imposing the tax. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Lebanon Aquatic District hereby imposes the taxes for, in the adopted budget, 1, in the amount of, or at the rate per $1,000 of assessed value of 24 cents for permanent tax rate. 2, in the amount of or at the rate per $1,000 of assessed value of blank, whatever it is, for local option tax. 3, in the amount of blank for debt service on general obligation bonds. And that these taxes are hereby imposed and categorized for tax year 2024-25 upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district as follows. Categorizing the tax. General government limitation, permanent tax rate 24 cents per $1,000. Local option tax is nothing per $1,000. General obligation bond debt service, blank. The above resolution statements approved and declared adopted on this day. Do we have a motion?
Well, we met with the budget committee and they agreed, so I'm going to move that we accept the adopting the budget as presented.
Okay. Motion's on the floor. Mark is seconding. All those in favor of adopting this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
And Jeremy says that with my audio not working, I'll abstain on most things just for convenience. I don't think my vote is needed.
Okay, all right. The motion passes with 4 and Jeremy abstaining. Okay, now each of us will sign this.
Yes, Mark.
We're gonna do the one, Lori. Starting the sign, you're starting the signing, that page,
Yeah,
right?
just
Okay.
one.
Just one here. All right, you started this.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
No, did you sign?
No, I just put L,
One letter.
one letter.
Well, our page got cut off.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have.
Yeah, you.
Mine is better.
I just crinkled it up.
Okay, yeah, no.
There we go.
Yeah, and I had one good copy of
I had the best one of all. Where'd you put the agenda? Here, okay. So. I did that.
here, I'm sorry, it's.
You might want to finish.
Another resolution.
Sure, this could be the.
Yeah, finish signing.
All right. We have another resolution about transferring funds. Here we go with the read. Lebanon Aquatic District Resolution number 2024-06-03. A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Lebanon Aquatic District transferring funds from contingency fund category to the special fund 300. Is that the name of it? I think. Yes.
This is one vote.
Whereas, oh, that's right. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Lebanon Aquatic District has determined that there are sufficient funds in the district's contingency fund for fiscal year 2023-24 in the amount of $44,624 and whereas ORS 294.361W permits the board to transfer from the contingency fund of the municipal corporation to the special fund category when authorized by an official resolution. So now therefore, the board acting as governing body of the district hereby resolves as follows. 1, that the board hereby authorizes a transfer of funds from the district's contingency fund to the special fund called Fund 300 in the amount of $9,000. Two, that the executive director is hereby authorized to effect this transfer. Approved and adopted by the board this day if we have, let's have a motion.
Actually, I have a comment first, please.
Okay,
And I probably missed something. I just want a clarification. The very first part says the board of directors has determined there's sufficient funds in the district's contingency fund. I don't remember us ever having a conversation and determining there was sufficient funds in the district's contingency fund. It's just because it comes in the finance report that we know that.
It's in our budget. The budget that we're currently in right now, there's a certain category called contingency and there's an amount in there.
Okay,
And we haven't used a cent of that. So that whole amount that I referenced is the amount of the contingency.
okay. I just feel like we should have talked about that before we had a resolution, because not
that
everyone
was in the
understands.
budget meeting.
I mean, to move money into the swim club fund, I mean, we have to take it from somewhere.
No, I'm not saying I have a problem with taking it from there. It's just understanding. So we did a budget last year. We're doing a brand new one, so it's already been a whole year. You're saying there's $9,000. I guess I felt like that should have more been in a director's report where you tell us that there's money and this is what you'd like to do with it. But
Well-
instead, we just have a resolution to do it without any conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Well, here it is that you do know what the figures turned out to be.
Well, but to Kim's point, so
Okay,
the swim club, right, it's a program that we subsidize. And as the year goes on, like last year, they actually ended up in the hole by almost $700. It was $696. And so as this year's been going along and they've been trying to, grow the team, get bigger, collect dues, all that stuff. They've done several fundraisers this year. But as we're getting close to the end of the fiscal year, which is in about 2 weeks, they're gonna be under their budget. And my guess is that it's probably gonna be closer to 7,000 or 8,000. And so instead of risking, going against budget law, then, so traditionally what we do is in June, we move some money around. I mean, I was hoping that their fundraiser that they just had in May, they would have raised twice of what they raised, and then, it probably would have been a lot. And then I wouldn't have to be asking to move some money around. So,
Okay, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. The issue is more that this document says that we determined that there was money. We didn't determine, Laura Lee determined there was money, and now she's telling us, here's a document for you to sign. I felt like there should have been a conversation first, that's all, that's my whole point.
well, going back to the contingency fund, we had discussed maybe using some of that money for the boiler. Back, when we were gonna move some money around for the boiler, but I figured that, we had some other places that we could shuffle money around that we weren't gonna spend.
Right.
So we decided not to use any funds out of the contingency fund, so,
This is something that happens, as far as I remember, this happens every June.
yes.
yes.
This is my first June.
Yes.
But as far as the number of the contingency fund, it's usually a, somewhat substantial number. I mean, tens of thousands, and, mostly we don't touch that, so.
And we have talked over the course of this last year about the fact that there is a connection between our board and the swimming.
Yep.
Team and the swim team
And we support them and help them, no pun intended, keep afloat.
well, and I remember a long time ago, or a good while ago, it was just us doing this, paying for the swim team, and so this has been an ongoing thing for them to become fully independent, and it's been going in the right direction. So.
Well, and it had been going much better until COVID. And then, you know, in 2020, then it just cut the legs out from under the team. And then 21 wasn't any better. Because really, you know, all those restrictions and all that stuff lasted more than a year. And so then 23 was probably the first year that it was more normal. As far as the club in really seeing more growth and so. I mean, we probably would not be at this spot if COVID had never happened. Because the club was on track to becoming a lot more solvent and autonomous. And some of that, so.
Does that help to,
Well, in Kentucky, the cart got put before the horse.
Yeah.
So the document was made saying that we already talked about it, but now we just talked about it, so now we got a horse in front of the cart.
well, so everything's just. Okay, and now maybe we could have a motion. And do a vote, whether we pass this resolution or not.
Well, let's not ruin the evening. I started. So I move that we approve transferring funds from the contingency fund category to the special fund 300.
And I'll second her motion.
Thank you. And all those in favor say aye.
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 Should we have a piece of copy for me to sign?
I do, I do.
Is it?
That's a good one.
Yes.
It is exactly what she read, so.
Yeah, we're good. I'll wait.
So yeah, I'll get it out.
Okay. Okay. Now, we have a decision in front of us about appointing a board member to replace Peg's seat for until the end of your term.
Well, we don't have a decision this month.
No, we don't make a decision.
It's next
We're
month.
gonna,
But we're going to
There's
talk about the applicants.
Okay, because more applications could still come in the next month. So,
Is there a deadline?
Well, I mean, it's when Peggy
Oh,
leaves,
well,
then,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
all the way up to,
yeah,
However-
you should decide on what you want to do. And come up with.
we do have a number of applicants.
5.
Could I make a quick thing here? Though I would like to submit my application if possible right now. Who do I submit that to?
You have the paper with you?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well, sure.
Give it to Lori.
So, if I'll state, and I can be patient, but doesn't the sign say it was 5 o'clock tonight, applications are accepted at 5 o'clock tonight?
That's what was in the notice.
That's what I thought, is there a deadline?
Not that-
yeah, because we didn't decide on the deadline
I don't think.
at the meeting last month.
I thought it was in the minutes,
Yeah, my mind's kind of vague on that, but I thought.
that we were collecting applications to, and then
We
you
decided
guys have them tonight to then decide what you were gonna. But if you wanna open it up.
Now, my
it's your guys' discussion.
thought process is, we're going to get all this, there is no way we're going to be able to interview each of these people, and I've done that soon. I think it's up to the board to decide which 3 or 4 applicants we would like to interview. Am I mistaken?
Well, ask them.
Why-
That's what I'm asking.
Why wouldn't we have everyone come in and maybe have a couple of questions to ask each person? Because we already have the gist of a lot of what they're saying in their paperwork.
Right.
So this would give us an opportunity to meet each one of them and to hear from them versus just making a decision based on their
For
application.
next meeting.
So we have 5, I see there's 5, we have.
Well,
5.
there's 6 now.
Now
Yeah.
6, okay.
And I'm looking at the meeting notice or the meetings where Peg informed the board she will resign. It says nothing about a deadline.
I said August.
Well, for leaving. but
So it just seems early to close the application process.
Okay, so let's make a deadline and then let's make
For
a
this month.
special meeting where we can have applicants come in.
Yeah, and we can do a special meeting that we do just for that.
Right.
It's just second Monday of next month. That,
For the special meeting.
Yeah.
And then,
where you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. absolutely.
do we have it?
So that would give us 1 week after we meet the applicants to make a final decision, so we can appoint them on the
Right, so
first day of the new year.
So the second Monday, we would do that of July.
But, Peg can't be included in the decision.
What? I'm still on. the board.
She's still on the board.
Yeah, but she can't help pick a
Yes,
replacement.
you can.
Well,
I don't think so.
the email that I got from, George was that she couldn't recruit her
Oh,
replacement.
no, and I have not.
That's what he sent me, was that she can't be involved in the recruitment process.
Who's George?
He's the consultant with SDA,
SDA.
George Dunkel.
And what date were you proposing a
Yeah,
special?
I mean, do we want 2 weeks? Like, well, we probably wouldn't want to do it the first week of July,
No,
so second week of July.
Robert in this pile is away, so,
The second Monday of July is July 8th.
I'm away. You're away then? Can you cancel that?
well, it doesn't have to be a Monday,
No, it
right?
doesn't have to be a Monday. No, any
Are you
day.
back Tuesday? Thursday. Thursday.
But I don't know
If-
about Robert.
Is Robert back by then,
I think so.
by the 11th,
Thursday, the 11th.
What days are meeting next month? So
the
that-
15th? So we'd still have, it would be,
Brilliant.
we'd still have 4 or 5 days, 3 or 4 days before the meeting.
I am gone on Thursday, the 11th, but I mean, I don't.
You cancel. Oh. All right.
I'm going to an aquatics thing in Medford, but
So the suggestion is Thursday, the 11th.
Thursday,
Yeah.
the 11th is fine, it's just know that I will be here, so, but.
Well, the other thing I was
We
thinking,
have to post it, and all that.
what if
so-
we had our meeting the fourth Monday and did this the third Monday
I like that better.
of August?
That's better.
I mean, there's no reason we couldn't have our board meeting a week later.
Fourth week of July. you mean.
Yeah,
I
So
see what
okay.
you're saying. Darla, 22nd, Monday, you're good?
That's good.
Clyde, you're in there, Monday, the 22nd.
Wait.
So the board meeting would be the 22nd.
Yeah, the board meeting would be the 22nd and the meeting would be the 15th.
Oh,
The-
meeting with them would be.
So the
Yeah.
special
You're
meeting.
not-
is the
Ah.
15th.
Yeah.
And then the board meeting
15th?
is the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the applicant meeting's the third Monday, the board meeting's the fourth Monday.
7:15. 7:15 is special meeting.
And the 22nd.
So when's the deadline for applications?
You guys just.
I think
Yes,
June
I-
30th.
I mean, the only reason I probably think that is because I gotta scan them and get them to you before the meeting.
Okay.
And I gotta
like
post
June
them
30th.
too, so the public can see.
So application deadline June 30th. And third week of July is the application meeting, interviews. Fourth week of July is our
Board meeting.
board meeting.
Can I suggest that the deadline be either the 28th, which is a Friday, or the 1st, which is a Monday?
Good, it's a good plan.
I'll be here on the 30th.
How about the first?
July 1st.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay, so deadline is 7/1. Special meeting is the 15th.
And that would be
at 6
considered-
o'clock, would we do our special meeting, 6 o'clock, good time?
Yes.
All right,
And then the board meeting is the 22nd.
I mean, we moved our board meeting around for things before.
As long as we publicize it.
Right.
It looks like this would be for a 1-year appointment. Whoever.
Yes,
goes on.
1 year.
till May.
Yeah, it's.
Until,
Finish
well,
out
yeah,
her term.
till July of the next year.
And then that goes back up on the ballot, so
Yes,
If they wanna run,
If they wanna run again.
1 year temporary.
then they would run as the income.
That's how I became on the board. was because somebody resigned and I filled out her position. And then I went on the ballot for the next 4 years.
Okay, excuse me.
Is that, we need a motion on all that, or is that just? It's in the minutes now.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay. So yeah, we didn't clarify that in the minutes last time. So that was confusing.
Okay, so hang on to yours and you're gonna scan that in.
Yeah, and I will, if I get any pass it out.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, thank the three of you for applying. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
So we will need to, think about questions that we want to ask. So I don't know if we should, if there's 5 of us and 6 of them or 8 of them or however many, if each of us should think of 3 questions and then we can just pick 2 for each person and take turns or whatever we want to do. But we do not want to have to come up with questions on the spot.
No, we need.
And I watched the city council do this and I do not want to do it like they did, so. I just
How
want,
did they do? What did they do? Or-
they set all 3 people and then. When they made them each answer the same question,
Uh-huh.
it was just really awkward. Instead of. Talking about different things, so everyone was trying to follow someone else and try to think of something different to say, so it just felt really weird how they did it.
Okay, what happened, I'm gonna explain when I applied to fill somebody else's place. Those of us who were in the running for it, we waited outside and they interviewed each person by themselves.
And that could be 2. I mean, I'm completely open to that suggestion.
That way they wouldn't be put on the spot in
Correct.
front of everybody else. So I.
Well, and we could ask them all the same 3 questions or whatever, and then,
They wouldn't have to hear each other.
that's what I mean, then they're not
Exactly.
trying to figure out something different to say.
Right,
I
so,
like the individual approach.
Yeah.
That's solid.
so,
Good,
okay,
we're good.
I'm glad I remembered that more.
Okay, now. Laura Lee, this one's yours. Proposed fee increases. Wow, that was a good study, by the way.
So I sent out a thing now, this full disclaimer here, these prices could change. I mean, just when I looked at them on the 7th, that's what they were. And so, you know, as you can see, like, we are not the cheapest place in town, but we are not the highest. But, you know, for instance, our adult admission is still cheaper than Albany's, still cheaper than Corvallis, it's cheaper than Staten, it's cheaper than Cottage Grove, it's cheaper than Molalla, it's cheaper than Newport. And so, anyways, even with us raising our rates very modestly,
I have one more
we're
question.
still really low.
Now, isn't River Road part of the Parks and Recreation?
Well,
Department?
most of these are park and recs or cities.
That's just the pool admission, but you've got.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, and I'm trying to compare apples to apples, so like, for instance, Albany doesn't offer a 3-month membership. So that where you see NA in that column, that means they don't have it.
Yeah.
So there are some, you know. Anyways, but it just kind of, even with bumping our single admission up a quarter, because that's all I'm proposing. That is going up a quarter, you know, we're still, if we go from 475 to 5. When then Albany's 575, and they could raise their rates July 1st, you know, I don't know. Anyways, we're still very competitive.
Laura Lee, is there a reason Sweet Home's not on here?
Yeah, I think they're shut down right now because they're doing a big renovation.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but I was gonna try and get a hold of them and find out, but yeah, you're right, they're not on the list.
Well, this. I like seeing that, for instance, that we have a family rate for a big family, or, you know, 4 or more. Where Albany, Corvallis don't, different things, the pool rental, all,
And two, one of the things is a lot of the, like, for instance, the reason that Albany doesn't offer like a 3-month membership or those kind of like larger is they mostly do month to month. So, and a lot of the pools are going to that because you get more money. I mean, if you're just charging a family or you're charging an individual, whatever it is a month, you're gonna get more money out of them because they're having to pay every month. Rather than, like, you have somebody who buys a family pass and they plunk down that large amount. But then the whole rest of the year, you're not gonna get another dime out of them. But if you get people to pay every month, you're gonna see more revenue.
And they only do cash.
Albany,
Yeah, when you go in, you can't pay with card, you have to pay with cash.
I didn't
well, I
realize.
know online you pay with the card because all their stuff is online.
But if you go in person, you can only pay cash and nothing over 20.
So I noticed that the out of district increases are much bigger. And I'm curious if you know what the number of people who come here in district versus out of district looks like.
I was saying 30% out of district, 3%, 30% would kind of be my guess.
There's
I
a lot
mean,
of people coming from Albany, Brownsville.
I mean, our mainstay are the district people. But like Brownsville doesn't have a pool. And so we do get a fair amount of Brownsville people. But the rate for out of district, I basically just went by the same thing that Corvallis and Albany does. They charge 25% more in district versus out of district.
Well, I know we have people from Scioto, we have
Yeah.
people from Shed, I mean, they're
Yeah.
in my class.
Yeah,
So I,
yeah.
so they're paying out of district.
Yeah, and every day I'll get somebody that I'll ask them on the phone or they're here in person, are you in district? Well, I'm right on the line. And it's like, what's your zip code? Well, 97233. Okay, that's not London. You know, and I mean, sure, there's always a few people that want that extra lesser rate, but you know, the people in the district, I mean, we're paying for it already. You know, and that's what I explain to people. It's like, well, you bring in your tax statement and show me that you pay a lot of taxes, then I'll give you the in-district rate, but. So,
I feel like Albany and Corvallis are larger and have more of an ability to have a higher percentage for out of district. I'm just concerned that we're going to price out people who are out of district who will just choose not to come anymore because all you have to do is look around. People are really struggling with increases in everything, and this could price them right out of being able to come. That's my concern. And 30% is a big number.
We do have scholarship help for low income, am I correct?
Can the out of district people use that?
I doubt it. I don't
So
know.
that doesn't help with
No.
the concern that I
it
have.
doesn't.
I'm just saying what I'm concerned about.
Yes.
We're still, I mean, I can tell you, we get people coming from Rex Swims from Albany because we are still cheaper than all the Albany
Yeah.
pools and.
And I know for lessons, like-
Lessons.
yeah, most out of district people, when you say, well, it's gonna be $60 a month. Okay, I mean, they don't even bat an eye. So, but I mean, I hear what you're saying. But I used the same formula last year that I'm using this year too. So the difference between in and out is exactly the same as what it was last year.
Well, for me personally, it's gonna be cheaper because I'm 60+ now.
Because it benefits, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I guess my thought is raising it 25, like the youth and the seniors money, raising it 25 cents a visit. How could you do, I mean, what would you do, go 10 cents higher? that's. We've done 25 cents each year, I know, so
We've done 10 and oddball amounts before, but it just. Jill's over here cringing already. She doesn't like dimes and quarters. I mean, dimes and nickels. They're, you drop them, you can never find them. And then we're always off at like 20 cents or 30 cents, and we're like emptying our purses trying to like, here. So we're not over or short or whatever. And so just dimes and quarters are, I mean, nickels. Yeah, quarters is great, but.
Now, another question, people that come in like through Silver Sneakers, which is a big income draw here. If they're out of district, is that?
That doesn't matter,
Yeah, I
because
didn't-
their insurance is paying for them to come.
Whatever.
So whether, if your insurance is paying for you to come, they don't care where you live, you're gonna get paid the same. You know, I get you, the same amount from,
So,
yeah.
that makes it somewhat easier.
and quite a few people who use the pool are on that program.
Well, and that is the one that just keeps, that program just keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah. Okay, any more discussions about this? Do I have a motion to adopt the new thing? Anybody?
I make the motion, we adopt the new regulations.
Mark has moved, we adopt this, do we have this?
It's
Oh,
a
it's
resolution.
in this. Wait a minute, we're not at the vote yet, but I'll hold you, okay?
And one more point of clarification, so on
That's
the,
right.
on the second page, like, I don't know if I added this to your guys' thing, but. So if you guys adopt this, the way it's presented, then all the prices would change July 1, except the swim team rates wouldn't change until September 1st.
And swimming lessons.
And swimming lessons, because we've already taken in money for the sessions that are starting tomorrow night and then it's gonna be crazy to then all of a sudden start charging people differently in 2 weeks. Whereas, you know, we shut down in September for our maintenance. And then when we open back up again and have our fall swimming lessons, then it's the new prices. And nobody would be able to pay for those new swimming lesson rates until, you know what I mean, after it would go into effect. So that's the only difference, is swim club would start in September, as so would swimming lesson.
Great, okay. And it's gonna come up in my read here. Lebanon Aquatic District Resolution number 2024-06-04.
Oh, yeah,
We did 03.
I know, I
Did
have,
we?
Okay, mine says 032, so it's.
Oh,
No, I have-
yours, I got the 04.
yeah, 04 is the correct one.
04.
Okay, I'm just.
Very good.
mine.
New. This one is number
So that's what
04,
that-
which was the old 03, but now it's 04. A resolution of the Lebanon Aquatic District Board of Directors establishing new user fees and charges for district facilities and services. Whereas Lebanon Aquatic District is authorized to establish and collect reasonable charges for the use of the facilities of the district and issue appropriate evidence of the payment of such charges. And whereas Lebanon Aquatic District is authorized to make rate adjustments based on the financial climate and adopt fee increases by resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Lebanon Aquatic District Board of Directors that the district shall change rates for district fees and services for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, beginning on July 1st, 2024, as attached. With an asterisk, lesson rates and swim club monthly dues will change effective September 1st, 2024. adopted, maybe, by this board of directors. Mark made a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
I'm seconded.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay. We have one nay, one abstain. And three. The motion does pass. Now, I do have a place here on our agenda for comments from our audience, if anybody wishes.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay,
And maybe Laura later, you guys, whoever can mention, but, she just mentioned something about the silver sneakers and she said it keeps going up. Does she mean that the amount they pay goes up or does she mean the amount of people?
the amount of people,
The amount of people?
yes.
Okay.
Because it's more now than silver sneakers, like I'm on something is called something else, but it's the same deal.
Principle, right?
At least it's going that way so far. There's some grumblings about, this kind of insurance benefit changing, but we're not there yet. So it's been good to us.
Next question, I don't fully understand the swim club. Maybe you can explain that to me, who funds that? I mean, I understand that you guys supplement it, but how do they get their money to operate?
So they charge a monthly dues for.
To the members?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we charge monthly dues, and it's based on what group they're in, what training group, so like the novice group. They practice the least amount, and so their dues is the least amount. And so, if we look at. So right now, a novice kid's paying $40 a month. And then it's gonna go to $45 a month. And then the next group would be bronze and they's 45, and then the next group is silver, they're 55, and then the gold / high school groups is 65. And then we have a family cap at 155.
Ever.
Right, I mean, you could have 2 kids on the team, or you could have 10 kids on the team. And so that's that. Now, we have not moved money, we haven't done a resolution to give money to the swim club in, gosh, gotta be 5, 6 years. Maybe more like 7 or 8, I mean, I could look it up. And let you know exactly, but it has not been recently at all, so, yeah.
Do they also have a membership requirement?
They get a pool pass, so either they get a family pass or they get an individual pass for just their youngster, and then they have the dues on top of that. And then they fundraise, so this year they do a swim-a-thon type splash for cash kind of thing, they usually do one of those sometimes twice a year. They had a pancake breakfast at Tolman, for the Saturday before Mother's Day. And I think they raised like 2,400, 2,300, and again, they were hoping to raise like 4,000 or 5,000. But, I mean, it was, all the pancake and the syrup, there's still a gallon jug of syrup sitting there on the floor. That all, they got donated, all the stuff, they have a nice Blackstone grill, this swim club does, and then another patron or somebody gave them another Blackstone grill, so like,
Wow.
Jim Knopf, our pool maintenance, pool operator, he's also was a coach. And so he was down there making hamburgers, pancakes and sausage. And so it was great. So that was the Saturday before Mother's Day, and then, they sold those butter braids.
Oh, yeah,
Last
it's usually
fall.
about between 2,000 and 3,000 for a 3 fundraiser.
Yeah.
They also host 2 or 3 meetings.
Yes, thank you, Chris. They swim meets. I'm like, how else do they make money? They have swim meets. Yeah, so they usually do 2 swim meets a year. This next year, we're gonna do 3.
Wow.
So, and a good swim meet, like, we could raise anywhere from like 2,000 on the low side to like 6,000 or 7,000 on the high side. It's all on if you have a bunch of teams come. Cause the more swimmers you have at the swim meet, the more money you're gonna make. And in just entry fees. And then, of course, they'll have a little concession stand, and if it's a 2-day meet, that's another way to make money, cause they're there for 2 days. So, yeah, so they're on track to make more, you know, this, it's just, okay, it really bothered me when we got the audit, you know, in January. That the swim club, cause I thought we were gonna be really close, and we ended up in the hole by $696. Well, from a director standpoint and a governmental accounting standpoint, that just like, that I failed, like.
So are you saying they ended up in the hole or
The
you ended
club-
up in the hole? The club ended up.
Smith Club
The club, okay,
fund,
okay.
it's special fund
Right.
300 of our budget, right? So last year, we were in the hole, they were in the hole by almost $700. And so, I mean, we're not got to the financials yet, but I've got the swim club financials, so as of May. Their total income so far for the month of May was $31,712 and change. Okay, well, that's good, okay, they're paying their bills, they're doing stuff. Well, their total expenditures for May, $37,317. So right now, well, not right now, because June's almost half over, right? Because we're like really a month behind. Well, their financials, they're gonna, if the fiscal year ended June 1st, they would be in the hole, the fund would be in the hole by like almost $6,000. And so that's why we kind of did this 11th hour, Hail Mary to get them out of being in the negative.
So I'm still not totally understanding it. Is the swim club their own entity, or are they part of your?
The budget that we just
Yeah.
adopted, they are the special fund of that.
They're the special fund.
They are the special fund. Now, my goal is to, and again, like, this was gonna have already happened. Like, we were making steps in 2018, 2019, they were gonna be an autonomous club. And we were not gonna be financially
Right.
supportive of them. Now, we would be supportive of them, that we weren't gonna charge them outlandish rental rates. And they were gonna still, use the pool and practice here and we had got a lawyer to draft up bylaws for the new board that was gonna get elected. They were gonna become a 501c3. We had all of that ready to go, and then COVID. And then COVID, right? And then it was like, oh my gosh, we're shut down. Oh, we can't even meet, Youth sports just literally overnight disappeared for everything. And so then we could not, well, then when we kind of came back again, because if you guys recall, we got to come back and then we were shut down again for another 6 months. But so then when we came back for good, right, even though we were masking and all this other stuff. The club literally went down to like 0, and then it was like trying to bring it back. And, last year, I think we averaged about maybe 31 kids. Well, now I think we're probably closer to 40. How many members? Something about that. 45 maybe. So we're definitely, like this year now is so much better, even though, yes, the club spent more than they brought in. But it could change. There's still, 2 weeks left of this month. I could have a bunch of people, pay a bunch of bills or something like that. But anyways.
Do we know how much they need annually to operate?
Well, their budget was
They do make a
30.
budget.
They do, okay.
Yeah, it was about
They have a separate
42,000.
budget then.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
separate budget.
okay.
And that budget is for travel?
No, it's to pay coaches, it's, everything's itemized in the budget. That was almost the last page of that budget. It had like their income.
Do you have a copy of that where I can have
Yeah,
I'd like to, yeah.
yeah, for sure. So this budget that we just adopted, and it's gonna start July 1, it's 40 some thousand.
So the advantage to the pool is we support youth sports. We have a fee come in for membership, so we gain a membership. That money does not go back to their budget, it goes to.
Well, it kind of does both. I mean, they have, if you look at the financials, like our balance sheet, the club checking account right now has. The club checking account, right, well, as of May was 41, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing, where is it? Where am I on this? Oh, swim club fund, okay, swim club checking was 35,311. So they have 35,000 in their checking account. Okay, now, if you also look at the balance sheet, there's this minus $41,333 and change. That is just this number that's how much the swim club has borrowed. Well, has used out of the general fund over just.
So you sign a child up to be part of swim club, they pay the membership fee, you deposit it into the special fund?
No, it goes into LAD, it goes into the LAD, but then like the bookkeeper, our bookkeeper will then earmark it toward the special fund.
Okay. So what's the advantage to beyond doing a good thing for the community by having a swim club? Is there a financial advantage to having a swim club associated with?
Well, I mean, yes, no.
You gain future swimmers.
You gain future swimmers, you have future lifeguards, you have, you know, you're promoting safety, hopefully people aren't gonna drown. I mean,
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but so then what's the advantage of them going in and
well, then you're not having to give them $9,000.
right,
June,
that I get, but they'll pay us a pool rental fee,
Well, we could, I mean, there's a
so you don't
million,
know yet,
there's
okay.
a million other ways we could do it. I
Okay.
mean, I am not proposing to do this, but I think this is highway robbery. But there are pools that charge per lane,
Wow.
that rent per lane, yeah, and they.
Didn't
Well,
realize that.
some, not,
Yeah.
I mean, some of these bigger city pools where they might have 4 or 5 clubs that are using one pool. And space is a premium, right? So man, you're just, I mean, they're selling it to the highest bidder almost. Well, I don't wanna do that, you know what I mean? I don't wanna cause competition, like, I don't wanna have some other Lebanon team come in, cause. You know, the Lebanon Swim Club, I mean, that's the club that I was on when I was 8. That's the club that Mark was on when he was younger than 8. I started when I was 8, he started when he was like 4, 3. Okay, I was close. So, you know, I don't wanna do anything to like get them out of here.
No, I'm not
Also-
proposing that, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if we
Also, they are
take enough
paid
credit.
for the high school swim team.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
And the kids that are on the swim club.
Right.
Also,
Theater.
then when they get into high school, they will usually join the high school team.
Which that is just a pure, like, we don't get any money from the high school, for the high school.
Right, but it is a good relationship builder.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying yes or no to a
Yeah.
swim club, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, that's what me too.
so
Get on
our,
with it.
well, just to, you know, because I think Darla's brought a good question. The budget that we just adopted, that couple back page where it's the special fund, that $40,000, right? I mean, it's a balanced budget, right? It's supposed to be, but as we can see, some years it's not quite so. And so then we're having to come to their rescue. Okay, well, if we didn't have to worry about any of that, you know, then that any money going to their rescue could go to future renovations or something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
So my personal opinion is it's worthwhile and it's worth the extra hassle to take care of them.
To make sure they don't fail, cause that's
Yes.
what I was
Right.
headed to.
It's an awesome program, yeah.
Yeah,
future
what are
lifeguards.
the odds they can really be self-sufficient, that's where I was headed.
right, well, and maybe not.
Yeah,
which is why we do what we do here in the month of
Yeah.
June.
but I do think we don't take enough credit for, there's
Yeah.
not much advertising, there's not much knowledge out there.
Well, even with
We
the.
hope to change that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Quinning is always the redheaded stepchild for sports. I
Yeah.
mean, look at the high school. I mean, I coached for 18 years. And like, you know what I mean? We have the worst uniforms. I mean, football players get new uniforms like every couple of years. I mean, we're never in the paper. I mean, that has historically been a thing for years. And I mean, don't even get me started on the lack of, I know Chris is over here going, oh, just like we got. Yeah, it's, yeah, no, I
Kinda like the-
totally agree.
Okay.
They don't get enough credit.
Kind of like the Democrat, I don't never say anything about the ducks, it's always a beaver. Sorry, I'm saying you Beavers fan.
And I'm very there.
And then one last quick question, and I'll shut up, but you said that you're raising the rates obviously this year. It sounds like you raised them last year. Is that normally every year occurrence?
Yeah, so, one thing that I loved when Jim Roof was on board, I gotta say some kudos to Jim. So he had worked for the city 11
Right.
years. Great guy, was on our board for 16 years, 4 terms. And now he had told us and told me that part of the problem that the water rates got so high for Lebanon was because they didn't raise rates like, you know, a little bit here and there. And then they finally were like, oh gee, like, we need to pay for a new whole water agreement. So now we're gonna raise rates, you know, exorbitantly high, and then people are like, what? And he told us years ago, it's much better if we just raise them a little bit, you know, that quarter or that 50 cents. And then people just kind of expect it, it's not a big shock. And so we pretty much been raising rates now, we don't always do it July 1st. Sometimes we've done it January 1.
Yeah.
And then we wait then until like the following July 1. So then it ends up not being every 12 months, then we have like a year or two in there where it's like 18. So, but again, it's that still little trickle
I
raise.
would agree with,
Yeah, that makes sense.
not as pain.
Yeah.
Well, the economy is not gonna go down in charge of that. Just walk into the grocery store, go to the gas service station, you know.
Right.
Yeah, we all.
So could I ask one more question? Silver slippers or wellness payments? Are you getting a fixed rate, like a fixed Medicare rate?
So what we get is by visit. It's by visit, but they're not all the same, right? Like Silver Sneaker can pay different
They're all
than,
3 different, and we get paid, so when we set up their membership, so they will have a special like Silver Sneakers membership. And they get the scan card like we all have, and every time they scan in, then at the end of the month, I report the attendance
Just
to
by usage.
the company, and then they send us so much for, and it's fluctuates, so it's hard to tell, but it's pretty comparable to what if they had paid a year.
Okay.
now, also with that is. They could come 3 times in a day and I'm not gonna get 3 times,
Right.
you know what I mean? There's a certain limit to like, if you come every day and then
And
that's.
they can only come 20, we only get paid for 20 times a month, so if they came 30 days, they've got to treat me, but there's rarely anybody that.
Yeah.
Well, Peggy.
Except.
Katie doesn't have silver slippers.
Oh, well, they can't just like scan their card, like. Cool, it doesn't work like that.
Well, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't pay the membership because I teach classes
Oh.
every day. So my membership, so I make big
Well,
bucks
She's a volunteer.
as a volunteer.
I
So-
like that, by the way.
Yeah,
I
so-
thought we started paying, I understood the reasons for paying the instructors, but I really think the exchange for a membership makes more sense.
Well, and I volunteer, you
Yeah.
know, so that, and I'm here 5 days a week
Bless your heart.
in the pool, loving
I
every
know.
minute of it.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, I was just wondering about that, because I think we're not tapping the wellness dollar pool in Lebanon at all.
Well, and maybe not, but I know just like in the last couple of weeks, we have gotten calls or people come in, like older folks come in, like, well, I'm gonna start using the pool, and I've never seen them before at all.
Well,
So
true, because that's Medicare supplement.
it's growing.
Right? But I mean working class, so if like school district, they pick where they can use their wellness dollars, we're not on their list. I don't think.
No, the school district doesn't offer wellness dollars for us.
Remember in the meeting was it Steve? Said-
Samaritan employees are offered wellness dollars.
Mhm.
They have to pay for their membership, then they can go to Samaritan and get reimbursed. School district doesn't offer it.
Who was the guy in the meeting?
So,
Will.
Okay.
And he said yes, when I asked.
Yeah,
him.
that's the first time we ever heard that, that's cool,
Yeah.
but nobody is using it here.
Well, because I don't think we're on their list. So they have an assigned relationship between you can go to WOW, you can go to Sam Fit.
Interesting.
Okay.
so I have a
Okay,
question.
move on.
Yes,
I have a question.
oh, yes,
Um,
why?
You said that we pay for our own water. Aren't we on the same water meter as the school?
We don't pay for water. We're getting our water from the well.
Which is a gift.
Okay. So how do water rates keep going up to
The
increase?
city of Lebanon, I was referring to the city of Lebanon and residents.
Residential
Not,
water.
not the pool water.
Kind of like issues with the comparison between the rates going up at the pool, and the rates. Nothing helpful for the residential water.
Cause everybody, like, you just look at social media, everybody just is losing their minds over Lebanon's water rates. You know, they're so high and everything. And that was one of the reasons is way back when years ago, they didn't raise rates. In any sort of like,
Incrementally.
yeah,
Okay, that about does it for our audience, am I right? For now. And then, we'll move on to Laura Lee's director's report, 60.1. We're gonna talk the financials.
all right, so I know we mentioned the swim club. And I wanna just, I know you don't all, I have a few of the general fund. And there might be a couple copies of the general fund, and then here's the balance sheet, if somebody wants to look on that.
Marcinko reach.
If anybody wants to look on else. Okay, so next month, so if you look at the balance sheet, you want the balance sheet? The swim club checking fund is at 35,311. The swim club fund minus 41,333. That is just this kind of ongoing amount that the swim club basically eats into the general fund when it comes to payroll. Because kind of just like us, like we are flush with money in the months of November and December and then January, and then we start, so the income outpaces our expenditures for those 3 months. And then our expenditures start going higher than our income, right? Because you only really get the big chunk of property taxes in November. And so then as the year goes on, it goes down. Well, swim club, it's the same kind of thing, like as you get toward the end of the fiscal year, then that's like if they're already kind of like going down or not making more than they're spending, then payroll is basically where we have to help pay their payroll. So this minus 41,000 is basically what they owe the general fund. So I didn't want to try and confuse people more as far as like taking money out of this fund and transferring it and stuff, but next month I plan to have another resolution to you guys, for you guys to consider, to then take some of that money out of the swim club checking account and then pay back some of that general fund. So that they don't need 35,000 in their checking account, you know, so I was gonna take out, say, 20, 21, 22,000, whatever. Leave them with maybe $11,000, $12,000 And then we'll pay back some of that to the general fund, and so then that minus 41 is gonna go down to, it'll go down to 20,000 maybe, or 19,000. So, anyway, just to let people know that, that's my thinking for next month. Okay, now, for the Oregon State Treasury, so we have 153,211 in the PEP fund. We have 70,819 in the reserve fund. And then the rest of that balance in the LGIP. With a total of 380,922 in the LGIP. And so, that was a good call on Jeremy's part for us to move that money into the LGIP, because
It's drawing.
the interest
really
rate is
good
just so
interest.
much better. So that's what I wanted to highlight on the general fund. Or, I mean, on the balance sheet, and then in looking at the general fund, in the very top part here. Where it says interest investment income, again, that is from the LGIP, so in May, we got almost $2,000 in interest income. With a year-to-date total of 6635 and change, well, I had budgeted that we'd get probably about 1,000. And so we're over that by almost 6,000. So that, again, that was a really good call. And then, our property taxes were at 594,000. Well, we actually got money last week for June 10th, we got over 13,000 in property taxes come in. So next month, you're gonna see us really land at probably about 607,000, 608,000. Which is more than the budget amount, so that's all good news. And then, if you look over on the second page, again, we're still talking about income. For total program revenue, that's all of our programs, that's not counting property tax, that's just all the services that we provide. And stuff that we sell, which is mainly the services. $18,501 is what we got in May. So year to date, we're $177,888 and change for our program revenue. And our goal was to make 190,000. Well, if we do another $18,000 a month next month, then we're gonna land probably right around 195,000. So now last June, we actually had revenue of 30,000. And I looked over it going, man, I mean, we sold a bunch of family passes in June, which I'm not sure how many family passes we sold this June, but. I mean, anyways, all that to say is we're doing good on the income side. Because we're definitely gonna make our goal, we're gonna go higher than our goal. So that's awesome. And then on the expense side, I mean, our materials and services. The total materials and services down at the kind of the bottom of the third page. We basically have $83,447 if we were gonna make zero. Well, I mean, I can tell you with pretty good certainty, we're not gonna spend $83,000 in the month of June. I would hope not. So we're definitely gonna make our budget there. And then if we look at the last page, employees, personnel. So now we're definitely gonna go over maybe on the fringe benefits side, because hers has really gone up. I had budgeted 70,500 for this current fiscal year. But year to date, look at that, we're already 75, almost, 75. And we had 7141 in PERS. Well, we're gonna have another 72,000 next month in PERS. So we might be real close to that, but we might be a touch over. But the good news is on the other part of payroll, let's see, the total personnel services were at 92,000 left over, or well, to make budget. And I mean, we're not gonna make that. I mean, we're gonna be under that by a little bit. But the other thing I wanted to point out is the part-time temporary. The budget for this current fiscal year that we're almost ending is $190,000. Well, we're $21,576 and change away from that. And this month, we spent $18,286 and change. So figure, say we hired a few more lifeguards this week. And, you know, we're training them, of course, and so we've, like today, there were 4 guards out during rec swim. We probably only needed 2 or 3, but again, I was training these other 2 guards. And in fact, I had 2 staff call me out, like, Lorley, you know you have 4 guards out right now, and it's so funny because, like, my staff, they're watching our bottom line too, you know? And I'm like, I know, it's on purpose, like, these 2 guys are new, and I'm, oh, okay. You know, cause they're like, Lorley, you need to send somebody home. Anyways, but so from a budgetary standpoint, like, again, like, I am very excited because I'm gonna like get really close to what that figure was. And again, from a budgetary standpoint, like, you can get better than that. You know, to nail what you really think you're gonna spend, I mean, that's good. And then to get more money in from what you were really hoping you're gonna get in, again, it's really good. So,
Really?
anyways, I just wanted to share that.
That's awesome.
Any questions about that?
Good job.
And then, let me see, I don't really have anything on the facility update, I mean, everything's going good, we started our summer schedule today. Which means 1 to 3 rec swims and there's some other programming changes that are a little bit different, but for the most part, they're not that big a deal. We've hired some more lifeguards, which is a good thing, so we finished up the high school lifeguarding class. And I think it was 8 or 9, and they all got certified. Now, they didn't all put in their applications, but they all got certified, so that was nice. And then we had a lifeguard training course that we opened up this week for the public, and we have 4 people are doing that class, and Rose and Christina and myself are teaching that. And that's this week through Thursday. And that's going good, so, yeah, so.
Good deal.
You still, talk to the medical college, the spouse, I don't think they have their club anymore. We used to, remember we brought in 3 or 4 lifeguards that way?
Yeah, I
They
don't,
last.
they don't last because they, in 2 years, they're gone.
But isn't that about right? Life, you know, pretty good shelf life for a lifeguard, right?
I don't think,
My staff tend to stay. I mean, most of my staff, other than the ones I just hired, gosh. Most of my staff, that's why our PERS get so high, is because I got kids. I mean, we got 16-year-olds that are on PERS because they've been working here for more than a year.
Can we go on with our meeting?
Well, certainly, we have one more part of your report, the property tax.
Well, I mentioned that we
did
got,
talk about it. All right, so
Lights on. You left your lights on.
I love this because I can write it off dark with it. I got this in the paper meeting.
can we move on to 30?
Yeah, oh, it's my
Sorry. Okay, all right, we're at the good part, the director's remarks from directors.
That was my remark, thanks. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Lori, for stepping up and taking my responsibility tonight, so
Oh,
thank you.
you're very welcome. And Kim? No remarks. I've just peppered you with all my remarks, so I'll just abstain.
Okay, with that, I make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, thank